For a mercifully short time, we finally had the equivalent on the Democratic side of a blue MAGA hat. And it came courtesy of Michael Bloomberg's presidential campaign. Bet you can't wait to say that or to see it. The hat, unfortunately for you guys, is no longer available for pre-order on Michael Bloomberg's merchandise shop. Now we'll get into the reasons why that is, but first, let me show you the hat and why a lot of people were not happy about this. You want to take a look? Oh, look at that! Not a socialist. And then, of course, on the back that you can see the odd phrase of "bring in the boss." Bring in the boss, not a socialist. Suffice to say, this did not go well on social media. The top tweets in the reply include mentions of Bloomberg's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and an image of the hat photoshopped with a guillotine. I want to show you that as well. So we've got not a socialist here, right? And then, oh, look at that. Guillotine. Bring in the boss. Indeed. Wow. Okay. Now, some other tweets included Andy Richter saying Democrats don't care about this, the whole socialism thing. Elizabeth Brunick saying, would not be psyched about this tweet if I were Cap, Center for American Progress. Keep going, Mike. You're doing amazing, sweetie. All right. Jill Filipovich says, cannot even tell you how much I cannot wait for the era of hats in politics to be over. Yeah, but what about us who are not exactly hairily inclined? Hairily inclined? Whatever. Those of us who are bald, okay? 100%. Now, more tweets here. IRN Lieberman says, the only thing working people miss in their life is one more boss. Indeed. So now, there was a little blurb, right, that was next to the hat. And it's usually the description of what you're getting, right? I mean, what description do you need? It's a freaking hat. But no, they still had the description, right? And it tells you that about a 2019 Pew Research study that found that twice as many Americans have a positive impression of capitalism than socialism. And so next to the hat, it says, oh, look at how many more people like capitalism than socialism. I mean, obviously, so not a socialist, so buy my hat. Why do you even have campaign merchandise? I thought you're self-funding this thing. I mean, what is the point? Nonetheless, the study itself is not wrong. It found that only 42% of respondents viewed socialism positively, compared to 65% who were in favor of capitalism. Okay. Now, the Pew study, and the part of it that was not mentioned by Bloomberg, is that Democrats actually have a more generally positive view of socialism than capitalism, 65% versus 55%. I know those numbers don't quite add up, but then again, what are you going to do? So now, you gotta wonder who that hat, what audience is that hat aimed for? Who are you trying to sell it to? I mean, are you if you're trying to sell it to Republicans? Well, I think you're going to get a lot of takers, right? Which, of course, leads to the criticism that we say often on this show that Bloomberg is running in the wrong party. He's, I mean, look, up until 2007, Bloomberg was a Republican. And by the way, if you were concerned, if you don't care at all about that, right? If you're like, look, he was a Republican back then, but he was an independent, and now he's a Democrat, which, by the way, you also shouldn't be saying that same thing. You know, you shouldn't be mad at Bernie for running as an independent and then becoming a Democrat. But you know why? Because that would be something called hypocrisy. Just a little thing there. Anyway, if you were concerned, and not at all concerned about whatever, right, the parties, but you're concerned about making sure to keep the Senate, or I'm sorry, to keep the House and take back the Senate, right? The down ballot races. Just remember who had a big hand in putting the Senate into Republican hands to begin with. And that, of course, was Bloomberg. As Elizabeth Warren pointed out, Bloomberg spent a lot of money funding campaigns for GOP members like Lindsey Graham, Scott Brown, and yes, Michigan's Rick Snyder. You know, the whole guy that started the Flint water crisis? Yeah, that guy. The whole emergency managers taking away democracy in Michigan. You know, that whole thing? Rick Snyder. Definitely Snyder. So, bit of a problem knowing, especially people in Flint, knowing that Bloomberg is a guy that made sure that a lot of young black kids will never be fully functional because of lead poisoning. Thanks a lot, Bloomberg. What a great Democrat. He even voted for George W. Bush. Again, if anybody should be getting yells of he's not a Democrat, it's Michael Bloomberg, who is literally a Republican. So now the other slogan is funny as well. And that's bring the boss, right? I was unaware that Bruce Springsteen was invited to this whole thing. I'm pretty sure he's also surprised that he was invited. I mean, oh, wait, no, what? He's not? Oh, no, they're not talking about Bruce Springsteen? Well, crap. That's a great reminder of how Michael Bloomberg doesn't want to be your president, right? Doesn't want to be a civil servant. He wants to be your boss. Again, I thought it was supposed to be public service, not the service, or I'm sorry, not the public servicing Michael Bloomberg. They must have messed up the memo. He might not have gotten this. Okay. I mean, if anything, this is a bad reminder of what it's actually like to work for Michael Bloomberg. I mean, at least if you're a woman. I guess if you're a man, it works out just fine. But if you're a woman, well, remember all the sexual harassment allegations? This guy's got more allegations against him than Donald Trump. Yeah. And then you also had the NDAs, right? That he was forced into releasing some women from their NDAs. Not only that, but the pregnancy discrimination where he told an employee, you might as well just kill the baby. Kill it. Instead of allowing that person to take time off. Not to mention all the racist policies like stop and frisk when he was the boss of New York. That's the kind of person that Mike Bloomberg is. I'm not exactly sure if the boss or being a boss is the image that he wants to project. Now, the good news is that the tweet literally got ratioed into oblivion. They deleted it, and the hat is no longer for sale. And so strike, or well, I should say, put another point up for the Bernie Bros, who absolutely destroyed this campaign. Love it. And you know what's funny, Bloomberg? He's been putting up videos on social media crying about, mean Bernie Bros, right? And harassment. By the way, a lot of those people were actually Trump supporters or supporters of other campaigns. But hey, do you, Michael? Lie like you're really good at. But look, by the way, this hat, one more thing, this hat is nothing more than an attempt to troll Democrats, which again makes you think, who is it marketed for, if not for the average Democratic voter? So it is pretty nice to see this ridiculousness blow up in their faces. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.